One day in August 1945, across the vast steppes of Kazakhstan, a thunderous explosion echoed through the land. People panicked, houses shook and crumbled, dust and smoke engulfed the air. Breathing became difficult. But that was only the beginning. For the next 40 years, this place would witness hundreds of nuclear explosions, each carrying the force of millions of tons of TNT. Yet the real horror wasn't the explosions, it was what came after. This is the story of Semipalatinsk, the forgotten nuclear test site where hundreds of bombs were detonated, and human beings became live test subjects. In 1947, the Soviet government ordered the establishment of a secret nuclear testing site called the Polygon, spanning more than 18,000 square kilometers, larger than the entire nation of Israel. The goal? To develop nuclear weapons powerful enough to rival the United States. One reason Semipalatinsk was chosen was its remote location and the ease of sealing off the population. But the area wasn't completely uninhabited. Several villages surrounded the site, and Semi City, just 150 kilometers away, was home to over 1 million people. These civilians were exposed to radioactive fallout from above-ground nuclear tests. Worse, the Soviet government never warned them. So, hundreds of thousands of people lived unknowingly on a ticking atomic time bomb. On August 29, 1949, the Soviet Union detonated its first nuclear bomb, RDS-1, at Semipalatinsk. It was almost an exact replica of the Fat Man bomb dropped on Nagasaki. The explosion created a fireball over 1.5 kilometers tall and a shockwave that traveled for tens of kilometers. But the most shocking part, people just a few kilometers away were going about their daily lives. No shelters, no masks, no protection. Days later, they experienced headaches, nausea, hair loss, yet no one knew why. Over the next 40 years, the Soviet Union conducted 456 nuclear tests at Semipalatinsk, including 116 above-ground and 340 underground detonations. They tested everything, from fission bombs to thermonuclear weapons. The villagers weren't evacuated. That wasn't a mistake, it was intentional. The Soviet Union launched a secret program called Project K to study the effects of radiation on living humans. They also monitored how blasts affected structures like bridges, railways, and vehicles, tanks, aircraft, and more. Soviet scientists documented every detail of human suffering: vomiting, bleeding, immune failure, leukemia. No one received treatment. They were human test subjects. Declassified documents later revealed that over 200,000 people were unknowingly part of the largest medical experiment of the 20th century. The tragedy didn't end with the survivors. Tens of thousands of children were born with heart defects, spinal deformities, hydrocephalus, or missing limbs. Researchers discovered that radiation damaged DNA, and the mutations were passed down through generations. Even today, third and fourth generations are still suffering. Cancer and birth defects occur at rates 5 times higher than the global average. One of the clearest symbols of the Semipalatinsk nuclear disaster is Atomic Lake. In 1965, a 140 kiloton bomb was detonated underground to create an artificial lake. The explosion carved out a crater nearly 500 meters wide and 100 meters deep, filled with radioactive water. Today, radiation levels at the lake remain 50 times higher than safety limits. Fish in the lake mutate, and the site has bizarrely become a dark tourism destination where people take selfies on poisoned land. For decades, the Soviet Union denied everything. Information was censored, doctors were banned from releasing data, the press was silenced, some people were even arrested for telling the truth. Only after the USSR collapsed in 1991 did the world begin to learn what had really happened. International organizations entered the site, measured radiation, interviewed survivors, and were horrified by the devastation. Thanks to public pressure from the Nevada's Semipalatinsk movement, one of the biggest anti-nuclear protests of the post-Soviet era, the test site was finally shut down in 1991. It was a rare victory of people over weapons of mass destruction. But the damage could never be undone, all for the sake of strategic balance between superpowers. Millions of innocent lives were sacrificed. Was that truly the price of progress? Or was it simply proof of mankind's blind obsession with its own destructive power? Today, the city of formerly Semipalatinsk, is still struggling to recover. Special medical centers have been set up to treat cancer and genetic disorders. But resources are limited. Only a handful of international organizations support testing, diagnosis, and public education on radiation protection. And with over 1 million people having lived in the contaminated zone, healing will take generations. Semipalatinsk is not just a place, it is a painful reminder of the destruction humans can unleash on one another. A symbol of the cost of silence, lies, and the thirst for absolute power. Semipalatinsk is also a warning, so no one else must live through another nuclear nightmare. So the past is not forgotten, so history doesn't repeat itself. The world may have forgotten this name, but hundreds of thousands of Kazakh families still live with the consequences. They cannot forget, and neither should we. Have you heard of Semipalatinsk before? If this story moved you, please share this video so the world knows what happened and never repeats it again. And let us know your thoughts about this place and the horrors it endured. If you found this video meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more. Thank you for watching.